You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99, WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves and bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, the inches we need are everywhere around us. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's going to make the difference between winning and losing, between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch. And I know if I'm going to have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Now, what are you going to do?
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Almond Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? Try to save the pump. Really, this is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
Radio station. The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio. We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
Been buying beer since August, running hot, running cold, and 30 friends are on alert, that's all the dental hold. 'cause he's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. He's the all-American man.
Howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Super Bowl Sunday, baby. It is finally here. Steven, how are you, my friend?
Man, it's Super Bowl Sunday. It's one of my favorite days of the year. We get to do the show. I get to go, we get to do that big party at your place. Get to watch one of the best games every year. Man, I'm fantastic.
I cannot wait for the kickoff, but it's more so to get into these prop bets. I'm making notes. Everybody says, because by the time kickoff hits on Sunday, I'm gonna have about 20 to 25 prop bets that are just gonna be you're gonna see me with like a clipboard. I'm gonna look like Andy Reid with a clipboard in my hand, just checking to see what's hit and what has not hit. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our first of all, before we do this, what are your favorite Super Bowls that you've actually seen?
So, I mean, first thing that comes to mind is I think it was about 2009, the Steelers and Cardinals. It was Kurt Warner, Ben Roethlisberger. That game was just back and forth all game. About 2 minutes left, you had Larry Fitzgerald taking a 75-yard touchdown, 75-yard pass to the house, gives him the lead. And then right after that, as time expires, you get one of the all-time passes in NFL history, Ben Roethlisberger to Santonio Holmes in the corner of the end zone. And it was just, I couldn't believe what I had seen.
I won't give out any of the ones that I'm going to talk about later, but some of the ones that did not make my list that I still think really need to be addressed. First of all, whether people liked it or not, the Patriots winning their first Super Bowl. And one of the coolest things about that whole thing was it was the year, right? It was the January right after 9/11. And the fact that the Patriots were in it and they came out as a team, as opposed to you normally get the individual accolades. You know, tonight I'm sure we're going to get starting for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, starting for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, et cetera, et cetera. But that night, all you got was please welcome your 2001, 2002 New England Patriots. They all came rushing out on the field. Never seen that before. I want to say someone else has mimicked that, but that was the first time it had ever happened. So it was a really cool statement of this is a team game. We got here as a team, and of course the tuck rule. But we got here as a team, and let's go. And then it ends up being one of the all-time games, right? Little known Tom Brady makes his way down the field in the last minute of the game to set up who then becomes, I think when everyone talks about the one kicker with ice in his veins for the rest of the time, it's going to be Adam Vinatieri, won't it?
Yeah.
So that's one of my all-time favorites right there. And there's been a lot of duds, but there's been a lot of really good ones. And more recently, we've had really good ones. You know, another one that I think gets skated over, that one that New England beats Seattle in was a big one because Seattle had crushed Denver the year before. And there was a lot of people that believed that Seattle was about to back-to-back and it wasn't going to be particularly close. And everyone kind of forgotten about how great New England had been because it had been a while since they'd won one. And then, of course, we get it was a Malcolm Butler with the interception at the end zone. All right, let me go ahead and pull up this DFS. And, Steven, if you will do the honors as I try to make this window a little smaller so people can see it just a little better. Here we go. Let me get this. Actually, I've got the wrong. Let me share it properly. Do that from time to time. Let's do the tab and not the entire window. There we go. All right, that should be much better. All right, where are we going? And kind of explain to folks what the captain, and people can see this little icon, this little king right here.
So on DraftKings, for single NFL games, they're called showdowns, and you get 6 roster spots. Basically, choose your 6 best players to make a lineup. The captain spot is that player gets 1.5 times their points, but they also comes with the price of 1.5 times their salary. So very common strategy. You'll see most lineups will have either quarterback Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes in the captain spot, just because that's like people expect the quarterback to be getting most of the work, most of the production. I typically do not go the quarterback route. So I mean, for me, usually a quarterback taking rushing stats out of rushing stats out, they would normally have to have like a 300-yard, 3 to 4 touchdown game to really pay off that price. So for me, I really like to go the position players, and in this case, the four main ones I'm focusing on are Kelsey, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders. For this lineup, I've been going back and forth, but I really like AJ Brown there in the captain spot. The Chiefs can absolutely get destroyed by number one receivers time in, time out. And I just think AJ Brown has been very quiet recently. He is due for a big breakout game.
All right, if you're going to go that route, then I'm definitely going to take Kelsey as my tight end, because he's so consistent, and I don't see how the Chiefs are going to compete without him having a big game. And I'll go ahead and grab. Well, no, actually, we're not saving money. Give me that Mahomes in. I was thinking that Hurts would be less, but he's not. So give me Mahomes and Kelsey.
No, I love that. I mean, that's the basis of most of my lineups is either AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and then Kelsey and Mahomes in the flex. Kelsey is probably going to be in every single one of my lines today. But no, that leaves us in great position. We're at 4,800 for the rest of the lineup. I'm going to go. I got a feeling we're going to be talking about this guy a lot on the show. Go down to 5,000 and give me Kenneth Gainwell. He's kind of their third down pass down back, and I think they're going to there's going to be a lot of points scored today. They're going to be playing catch up. Yeah, Gainwell's going to be getting a lot of work out of the backfield.
Yeah, I like that pick because it seems like that when they get near the goal line, they kind of abandon Miles Sanders, and it'll either be Gainwell, sometimes it's Boston Scott, but I love that pick right there. All right, so if we're going to go there, I'm going to go ahead and take one out the hip. Give me Kadarius Toney, a guy that could touch the ball 5 or 6 times, but could really have two or three really big plays. And I think he's a guy that they're going to try to work in around the goal line. I could see some jet sweeps. I could see some big plays from Kadarius Toney. And I'm sure all the Giants fans will be moaning about it, but Kadarius Toney still has that talent.
Oh no, Toney is one of the elite playmakers in the NFL. If he can get everything together, he could be a true force to be reckoned with. I generally like to spend most of my salary, so I mean that would put the kickers in position. I don't hate them, but I don't love them. From there, I don't want to go Boston Scott because I don't want two of those running backs. I'm not really too into Sky Moore. I mean, honestly, out of those options, the highest upside one I see is Quez Watkins. He's the deep threat for Philly, and I can really see them.
Okay, so what if we take out Toney? What kind of money does that give us back? Then that gives us a chance to either go Pacheco or Sanders, maybe even McKinnon around the goal line, or even Godere. Which one do you like the most there?
I mean, between those four, I like either McKinnon or Godere. I'd lean McKinnon, but
me too.
I'm fine going either way.
I like going McKinnon because I think around the goal line, I don't think they're going to be able to run it in. So I think it's going to be the types of swing passes and whatnot, which is why I originally was going with Toney. But look, we know McKinnon's probably going to have a healthy amount of touches in this game. So there you have it. You got Brown at 13-8, and he is the captain, getting 1.5 points. Then Kelsey Mahomes combination. McKinnon, if he's catching touchdowns, you get more from that as well. And then Gainwell and Brown are the only two Eagles with Quez Watkins, Quez Watkins with a chance to maybe bust one deep. And that will be our entry. And there you go. last thoughts on that before we have to head to break. Is there one guy we didn't mention that you might want to like as a dart throw?
So, I mean, it's so tough. So, I mean, I just do not know how that wide receiver room is going to play out in KC. So, I mean, MVS really took it over last week, but that was because of the injuries. I really think they're going to try to keep Bradbury on Juju. It's so tough, but I'm going to have to go with. I mean, we touched on it a little bit. Godare. I mean, he's really the only one I can see that's like it has the highest floor out of the ones we haven't mentioned.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Bobby's going to join us. We're going to talk some prop bets here on Super Bowl 57. We're just getting started, baby. Keep it locked in here on the Key in Braves Country HD, wherever you may stream.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you know what, you know who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQE.
Tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to DixieHandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays 3 to 5 p.m. Drive time on WQEE. Welcome back. Armchair Quarterback Kickoff Show here on Braves Country. We are Super Bowl Sunday, just a few hours away from kickoff, and joining us now is Mr. Bobby. Bobby, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl, biggest day in the NFL. I'm excited.
We've got a lot of prop bets to get into and a little bit of time to get into. Looking at the past Super Bowl MVPs, by the way, just in recent memory, I don't know why, but I just assumed they were majority quarterbacks. And they are, the percentage is higher for quarterbacks, but there's more non-quarterbacks than I think I remembered. You go back, see, we're sitting here at 57. So let's just say we go back all the way to, let's say we go back to the Seattle Denver Super Bowl. You've had two linebackers in Malcolm Smith and Von Miller. You have two wide receivers in Kupp and Edelman, and then the rest have been quarterbacks. But that's not as big of a disparity as I would have assumed it to be, considering that we've gone to just basically a pass-happy game.
You know, like I actually pulled those numbers up, and those basically are the outliers. I mean, there's like since the Super Bowls, like out of all the Super Bowl MVPs, period, there's been 4 linebackers total. You mentioned 2 of them. 8 receivers total. He mentioned 2 of those. So 31 quarterbacks. And what are we at? 57, 58 on Super Bowl, something like that.
Right. But there was a time when I was thinking more of other skill positions. There was a time when it was just as likely for it to be a running back, maybe even a receiver. Nowadays, just because of the way the game is set up, and I do think this is a year where a receiver could win the Super Bowl, and I'm including Travis Kelce in that as a receiver.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a tight end, has there?
There has not been a tight end.
The only dominant tight end performances that I can remember is Gronk. He's never won one, and then it goes back to Mark Bavaro of the Giants. I mean, that's 30 years ago. You think of all the great championship teams, most of them haven't really had, other than Kelce, most of them haven't really had dominant tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking through just the Super Bowl winners, and yeah, I mean, there's the best tight end I can name on this list is Dennis Pitta and Julius Thomas.
Yeah,
tight ends just don't make the Super Bowl. Good ones, at least.
Not yet. I don't. It was that's what made the Patriots different. Was the fact they had dominant tight ends when they weren't going on killing sprees. But, man, I hadn't really ever thought about it that way. Now I will say this: the very first Super Bowl, Bart Starr won the MVP, but most people feel like that it should have been Max McGee. And that's the famous story where Max McGee was the backup tight end. He had 2 touchdown catches, both of them, 2 touchdown passes. Max McGee had 2 touchdown catches. And he had the famous one where he was going across the middle, had to one-hand it and corral it in. But the famous story of that was Max McGee was the backup tight end, didn't expect to play at all for the great Green Bay Packers. He went out and got just bombed before the game. And was like working on a heck of a hangover. It was being played out in Pasadena, I believe. So it was West Coast time, and he was up drinking till East Coast time. So this is back when the Super Bowl was actually played during the daytime. So he had very little sleep. He goes in and goes, it doesn't matter. We're gonna kill the Chiefs. I'm not gonna play anyways. And one of the very first plays of the game, their starting tight end goes down with an injury, and Max McGee gets called in there, and he said, "I'm just dripping with sweat. Just cannot even fathom I'm in this game." Next thing I know, they're calling my number left and right because we had a huge matchup or mismatch on the Chiefs linebackers, and he's out there, getting catch after catch after catch. And he talked about how it was his least favorite game of his career because even though everyone remembers it, he's like, I just felt horrible the whole game. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into these prop bets. I always love the crazy Super Bowl prop bets. We're just going to kind of go around and pick the ones that we like. Bobby, we'll start with you. What's one that you really like?
All right. So you told me to bring some weird ones, and I did that. Jason and Travis Kelce's mom to be shown in the first quarter after kickoff is plus 140. I like the odds on that.
Money?
What's up?
You think they'll wait? After the first quarter, or are you saying that she has to be shown after the first quarter has begun, or you
after kickoff before the end of the first quarter?
Okay,
bingo. Yeah, and I think if there's any dull moment during the first quarter, they could pan to her and talk about that whole story, how both of her sons are in the Super Bowl. I think, and that's the highest odds for it to happen first in any quarter. So I think plus 140 is good odds. I think it could hit.
What is the odds for it in the fourth quarter? Do you know?
Fourth quarter. I can find it.
Because the reason why I say that is, what if the game gets out of hand one way or the other, and they get bored and they go, "We have to figure out something." All right, where's Kelsey's mom at?
Well, it's the prop is to be shown first in what quarter. So when is she shown first in the game?
Okay.
So I imagine the odds for the fourth quarter are pretty high.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They may hold that. They may hold that story because when the game first gets going, my point is when the game first gets going, you're not out of material. You get in the fourth quarter and it's a 3-touchdown game, and the Eagles are just hammering the ball down the throat of the Chiefs. Then it's going to turn into, well, what do we talk about now?
That's true. Well, BetUS has the same idea in mind because they have fourth quarter at plus 175, which is the second lowest odds.
Makes sense because third quarter, I can't imagine it comes up because you're coming straight out of the Super Bowl halftime show that they're going to be reacting to that. They're going to be reacting to the game, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's probably most likely to happen in the first or the fourth. Because usually second quarter, unless it's like coming out of the break, second quarter, you got to figure that the game is still going up and down. And I just feel like that is something they have in their back pocket for if they feel like they need something to talk about. Steven, what say you?
Actually, kind of like I love that you talked about all those other positions winning the Super Bowl. One of the first ones I saw. Any other position besides quarterback to win the Super Bowl MVP is plus 350. So that's pretty. As long as it's not Hurts or Mahomes.
Anybody that's not a quarterback is plus 350?
Yep.
I like that one a lot.
I think if the Eagles win, has a realistic shot of hitting.
I can easily see A.J. Brown or Miles Sanders, that like one of them just going off.
Well, it gives you an honest chance. I would rather take that than to bet on either Mahomes or Hurts, right? If you give me an opportunity to bet on both of them, say the quarterback wins it, then I would probably jump on that. But if you give me a chance of two guys, or do I get my choice of, I guess it would be 104 guys that are left on the field, I like my chances because Kelsey could be a guy that goes off. What if for some strange reason one of these running backs that's not getting talked about a lot, like a Pacheco or Gainwell or whatever, what if they go off and the quarterbacks aren't playing? If you get a low scoring game, but one of the running backs, lower scoring, it's not going to be 3-6 or anything, but like a lower scoring game, and one of the running backs goes over for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, look out. Here's one. They call it the Caesars fridge prop. And it is the prop that started it all. And the reason why, if people aren't aware of this, I told the story last year, but if people aren't aware of this, William the Refrigerator Perry is the one that started all prop bets for the Super Bowl. Before that, it was unheard of. And it was because people wanted to bet on whether or not the fridge would get into the end zone and score a touchdown. And I know it's before everyone's time that I'm co-hosting with right now, but it was a big deal because no one had ever thought of a big fat guy given the ball and rumbling into the end zone. He'd done it a handful of times during the season, and the Bears were just this phenomenon back then. The term wasn't used, but basically they went viral, right? They were everywhere, the Super Bowl shuffle, et cetera, and people loved pulling for the fat guy, and then he had a cool nickname. So what they're saying is Caesar's list to any defensive player to score an offensive touchdown. So not a scoop and score or pick six, but someone that is actually in the play call is plus 2,000 with a minus 7,000 to fade it.
So it's a defensive player only.
It's got to be a defense, someone who's listed in the defensive player, but it's got to be someone who would be set. So in other words, it can't be an offensive lineman catching a touchdown pass. It's got to be a defensive player, but he's got to be lined up in the offensive formation.
I'm trying to think of if the Chiefs or Eagles have done that this year. I can't recall either one of them doing that.
I don't really like that play because, first of all, when he gets introduced into the lineup, there's a big announcement. Number 72 is now eligible. And he usually has to be out there for a couple of plays for them to forget about him. So unless
the only one I can really see from either side is it would have to be like Chris Jones.
That's who I was thinking of like a handoff maybe.
Yeah, just for first and goal from the 1 or something.
But
that's
I
the
almost feel
only
like
chance.
Yeah, I almost feel like for that to happen, you're going to have to. I think the game's almost going to have to get away from them. What are
See, I
those?
don't know about that.
Could they have? Well, no, because Kelsey's a offensive lineman. I was about to say I could see them having some kind of play involving Kelsey to score just so that he outscores his brother, but that doesn't work either. Anyways, it's an interesting prop. I don't think I would take it.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby, what's your next one?
This one's a Hail Mary, but if you get the exact score right on the first half, I got Eagles 13, Chiefs 10, first half exact score. It's plus 5,500. It's a long shot, of course, but if you want to throw $1 on it or something, maybe get a little return back. Why not have some fun with it?
Yeah, that's. I'm assuming that most of the scores are pretty much the same odds.
Yeah, some of the more obscure scores are way higher than others, but for the most part, they're long.
Real high scoring one, then it's like impossible because it's like I don't have time. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I wonder what if you have it in front of you. What's a 0-0 tie? Because I'll tell you what, that would probably be through the roof considering the over under.
Let me find it real quick. Let's circle back to that. I can pull that up.
Okay, Steve,
that's literally just giving them free money.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, go bet it.
Dude, did anybody think that the Patriots and the Rams were going to be such a snore fest?
No, but it wasn't 0-0.
Yeah, but you never know. You're talking.
You have to have a winner of the Super Bowl. You can't have a tie.
That's where the odds would be.
It's the first half. It's just the first half one.
Oh,
I would
just
bet
the
that
first
before.
half. Okay.
I'd bet that before I would bet it to be like 24-24 at the half, which is just right at half of what the over-under is.
A 0-0 first half exact score is plus 17,500.
You trying to tell me that's not worth throwing $1 on? Come on now.
Just maybe.
Steven, what's your next prop?
Yeah, this one's right up your alley, McGee. So, Jackson Mahomes to post on TikTok during the game, like his first post on TikTok to be during the game, plus 145. The other options are within 1 hour before the game or within an hour after the game.
I haven't paid attention. Is he going to be at the game or have they? Because at one point they were talking about keeping him away from the team. Is he going to be?
I have no idea. And that we don't care for this bet. The only thing we care about is will he post on TikTok and when will he post on TikTok?
Right. But I'm saying if he's at the game, he's more likely to post on TikTok during the game.
What are the odds for after the game, the hour after it?
Plus 400, I think.
I like that. Because if they win, he might go and celebrate.
Yeah,
He'll
absolutely.
Post a dancing TikTok on the
he's
field.
going to freaking get on there and cry about it or something.
It's whenever his first TikTok is.
Ooh.
Oh.
Starting from 1 hour before the game.
Might work. I still think that might work because he might be told like, hey, man, don't post during the game. Don't go out and jinx this. If we win, then you can post after and celebrate. Just maybe.
Or does he do it during halftime because he thinks he's going to get some kind of limelight?
Yeah, that's it. I don't think he's outshining Rihanna, though.
Long.
Yeah.
All right, here's one more. What will happen first during the broadcast? They say the Kelsey Bowl or they show one of the parents?
That's tough.
Kelsey Bowl is minus 200. The parent is plus 150.
Speaking of that one, here's one you might like. Both brothers Kelsey score a touchdown in any way, shape, or form. 200-1 odds.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I could dig that.
200-1 odds. And it doesn't say it has to be a planned touch. Like it could be any way for Jason Kelsey to get in. That one I really
cover
like.
A fumble.
I'm not putting money on it, but that one I'm really liking.
Yeah.
Because I could see Sirianni drawing something up. And say we're gonna. Now the problem is I've never seen Kelsey in action like making a catch or anything. He might be an absolute klutz.
I could see them giving him a goal line like lining him up at fullback and giving him the quick handoff and hoping he can get in. If it's like first and goal at the one like Trosh talked about earlier, I could possibly see that.
The kicker would be if he ends up fumbling and he ends up getting turned into the game, right?
I'll never do that again.
They're up 14-0. He's going in to put the game out of reach, and he fumbles out the back of the end zone. Next thing you know, Travis Kelce's crossing the goal line, and we got ourselves a ball game. This is still one of my favorite ones always. Total players with a pass attempt over 2.5.
Oh yeah, no, that's like every single Super Bowl. I'm smashing that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Right now, it's sitting at plus 150.
Oh,
Really?
100% taking that.
Wow, I'd get on that. I could see the Eagles busting out a trick play for sure. Even the
under
Chiefs
is minus 185, and I'm really surprised that it is that because A, yeah, it could be something designed, but B, what if just one of the damn quarterbacks gets banged up for a few plays, right?
Yeah, that too.
And Chad Henne has to march the field.
Yeah. Or hell, even Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew.
That would be a sight to see. Minshew rocking his mullet in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl MVP.
God, what are the odds? Like, let me check the odds just to.
Oh, it'd be phenomenal, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. That would be a story.
He gets up there on the podium and accept it. Screw you, Jacksonville!
He is not even listed, but Justin Watson is.
Huh.
Plus 25,000.
Is there like anyone not listed type prop that you're seeing there? In other words, anyone else we haven't listed such and such to one?
Nope. It just has the players. I love how Mecole Hardman's still listed, even though he's already out.
Oh, he got ruled out?
Yeah,
I think
he's on IR.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't know why. I thought he was on track to play. Maybe I'm mixing him up with Tony. That might be what it is.
They put him on
Tony's
IR
playing.
a couple of days ago, and they activated CEH.
Gotcha.
You know what grinds my gears? This is not football related, but I'm really sick and tired of this. ESPN's the main one that does it. They will tell you, I notice this a lot on Saturday, they will tell you a certain basketball game is on, and it will just say so-and-so versus so-and-so. And it's something like midway through it, I'm about to like click over, and then I realize, wait a minute, that can't be the men's game, right? But there's other times where you're not as familiar with who's playing that day. And I'll give you an example. On Saturday, they had I believe it was ACC Network, had Michigan versus Virginia. And you go to flash over there because you're assuming that it's going to be men's basketball. No, it's lacrosse. But normally what happens is, because they used to say the Lady Seminoles, the Lady Hurricanes, the Lady, now they don't do that as much anymore. And so you'll flip over and go, all right, man, I didn't realize there was a good college game on tonight, and it's the women's game. You're like, oh, jeez, Louise. It's all fun and games until they come up with some kind of powder puff league that they put on, and you're flipping around. Hey, man, Kansas City versus Philadelphia. Let's go check this out. It's a minor inconvenience, but it does drive you nuts.
Here's a bet. So, like, Jason Kelce is expecting a baby right around the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So, what's going to be higher, the weight of his baby or the number of Travis Kelce receptions?
The
receptions. Well,
hey, that's plus 160.
For his wife's sake, I hope.
Well, how long? We might have to wait a little bit for that to see if that prop hits or not, though, because she may not have the kid at the stadium.
Oh,
so wonder what they do with that.
There's got to be some kind of prop bet out there on whether or not Kelsey's kid is born on Super Bowl Sunday, because it's the due date is like right there at Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, and on top of that, she is at the stadium, I think, with doctors or whatever it is, and in case something happens. So,
yeah, she brought her OB.
Doing, man, just go home. Look, what are you doing? It's
and
not
the
like
Super Bowl.
I mean, be the first. I mean, I guess she's already seen one, and with the Eagles Patriots Super Bowl.
Would you pass up a chance to see Patrick Mahomes play?
No.
I wouldn't.
I also don't have to worry about being pregnant on the Super Bowl, though. So
exactly.
Lucky me.
I think she has more pressing issues than if she gets the chance to see Patrick Mahomes or, will you be on Jackson Mahomes' TikTok? Here's an interesting one. Travis Kelce's receptions versus the Canadians Oilers total goals.
I'm looking at that one.
Yeah. You said Travis Kelce, right?
Yes.
Travis Kelce. Yeah, I'd take the receptions on that one.
Yeah.
Unless there's something I don't know about that matchup between the Canadians and Oilers.
Maybe.
I'm seeing the same exact one, but instead of Kelce catches, it's a total number of punts. So, that one I'd be leaning towards the goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see many punts. Mainly because both of these coaches go for it. Let's take a quick break. We'll jump back into some prop bets and a lot more. Be back in a flash here on Armchair Quarterbacks Kickoff Show right here on Braves Country 99.1 FM.
On a beer? 7 o'clock in the morning. Scotch?
Armchair.
It's time to live, laugh, and create memories again with MSC Cruises. Join us on some of the world's most modern and innovative ships. Discover again at our new private island, Ocean Key MSC Marine Reserve, named Best New Cruise Destination. Cruise the Caribbean and Bahamas from Miami or Port Canaveral. Book now with free balcony upgrades and flexible booking changes. Call your travel advisor or visit msccruises.com. Restrictions apply. MSC Cruises, a world of discovery.
Hockey season, and that means new merch over at ourdragonsmerch.com. Get the latest designs and some of our fun new souvenirs ahead of what's sure to be a great hockey season. Celebrate another season of River Dragons hockey by getting a new look to wear on game days, or surprise the big-time sports fan in your life with a new keepsake that will make them a River Dragons fan for life. Order online right now at ourdragonsmerch.com. That's the letter R, dragonsmerch.com. We'll see you at the rink.
Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. We cover Braves baseball, Red Sox, Yankees, Rays, Cubs and Cardinals, and the rest of Major League Baseball every day. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
How to improve your dining room by the Home Depot. New wood floors, new paint on the walls. Sure, you know us for that. But how about a new dining room table, matching chairs, bar stools? How about free and flexible delivery with easy online returns? Now you can explore decor in a whole new way. Save now on furniture. Everything for your home. Everything from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. Limitations apply.
This helpful instructional message from the National Association of People Who Have Trouble Walking and Chewing Gum at the same time. Step, chew. Step, chew. Step, chew. Step, chew.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays 3 to 5 p.m. Drive time on WQEE. Welcome back. Programming note for tomorrow. Tomorrow's show, 3 to 5. We do the weekday show, 3 to 5. Tomorrow's show is strictly baseball. We don't talk any football the day after the Super Bowl. Figure everyone's burned out by 3 p.m. Eastern. What the heck's the point of bringing up the Super Bowl? But now we're going to get you ready for the Super Bowl. So, with all that being said, we're going to try to ignore Bobby's Florida Gator banner behind his head, and we're going to keep on moving on. Okay, let's get into more prop bets, and then we're going to talk the actual lines themselves. Longest field goal made. How about that one? Over under 51 yards. And it's about an even split on the
over. Both of those guys have big legs. There will be an attempt over that.
Elliott and Butker are both good kickers. I'd take the over.
Yeah, you got to figure like at the end of the half or something, right? If nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Total. Oh, here's an interesting one. This is a fun one. How about the total yardage of all touchdowns scored? Over under 82.5. That's off the Superbook.
That's an easy over for me. I
over because it's more fun.
Well, not only that, I mean, I could picture at least one 40-yard touchdown from like there's gonna be a big touchdown today.
I can see Devontae Smith breaking off on a 75-yard touchdown. You took the under. You're like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? I gotta hope for some kind of kick field goal fest. Of course, the opposite could happen. You'd be screaming bloody murder when he gets pushed out at the 1-yard line.
Yeah. Oh,
that would be brutal.
Let's not put that into the world.
Here's another one. These are some of my favorite ones. Combined jersey numbers of all touchdowns scored, 173.5. Now that's the guys that actually crossed the goal line.
I think got Kelsey at 87. Good chance he gets in the end zone.
You have AJ Brown at 11, Devontae Smith at 6, Juju at 9, Tony at something under 20. Yeah, I'm going under.
There's a lot of low numbers.
Yeah, unless Kelsey grabs 2.
Or at least 2 to bust that number for you.
Yeah.
Or Kelsey and Godare.
Let's see. Miles Sanders is 26, correct?
Even Godare's only, 46 or something like that? 46, 44, somewhere like that?
No, he's 80, 88 or something.
Is he? Okay. For some reason, I thought he had an oddball number.
If the tight ends are scoring,
I see it now. Sorry, it's right in front of me. 88.
Yeah, if the tight ends aren't scoring, then I don't see that going over.
You got to figure Kelsey's going to get in once, but all the other numbers, not counting Miles Sanders, all the other numbers that they have displayed that's not named, that doesn't play tight end, and not Miles Sanders, that they all have digits below 20.
Mm-hmm.
And just since you mentioned it, Travis Kelce to score minus 150. Not a good price, but it's almost free money.
You got to figure that's why that number is as high as it is at 173, because they figure he's going to score once.
Yeah.
If he scores twice, you're screwed. You better be hoping Hurts is doing a lot of quarterback sneaks.
Yeah.
That or Devontae Smith is catching touchdown passes.
Or Mahomes is limping into the end zone. Y'all got any others that you like?
Let's see. Andy Reid to be mentioned after kickoff before Nick Sirianni is minus 115. I think it'll come down to whoever gets the ball first. But also there's a storyline of Andy Reid. He used to coach the Eagles. It's a little bit of a revenge story. So I could see him being mentioned first. And if they get the ball first, he 100% will be.
Too bad CBS isn't doing the Super Bowl this year, because they had that prop bet last year. I remember it was how many times Tony Romo would say, "Oh wow!" There was another one revolving him. I think it was something to do with how many times he would ask Jim something specific. I can't remember what it was, but it was how many times will Tony Romo say, "Hey Jim, what about?" I forget what it was, but they
It reminds me, I think it was whenever the last time NBC did it, it was how many times Collinsworth was going to say, "Now here's a guy."
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. They've been killing Romo since the season ended. His quality has fallen off, and I don't believe that. I believe that everyone gushed over him the first 2 years, and now they're tired of his shtick, and now they're trying to kill him for it. Like, dude, he's the same dude.
Yeah.
I forget who it was, but someone was busting his chops talking about how Jim Nance has got to get tired of Romo asking him questions that he's to have the answer to. You know, what do you think they're going to do here, Jim? Do you think they're going to da-da-da-da-da? I forget who was talking about, but whoever it was saying, don't you think Nance is sitting there going, that's what we pay you for? What the hell are you doing asking me for that? Well, I'm supposed to just give you what the game's going on. Quit asking me. You're supposed to be telling me what you think's going to happen. Hey, whatever, man. Y'all overpaid the hell out of him. You're stuck now. They were trying to. What was funny is whoever was doing that, within 20 minutes of me watching that day, I saw some terrible commercial he's in where he's trying to do an impersonation of Bill Murray from Caddyshack. I could not believe within 20 minutes of me seeing this, they feel like his quality really slipped off and he's not really taking the gig serious anymore. Within 20 minutes, I see him going, we're going to take a putt right here. And I was like, is that Romo? I was like, yes, yes. CBS executives are banging their head against the desk. You do realize we're all getting fired here. Who the hell's idea was it to give him that kind of money? And you think that's bad. Wait till Brady's in the booth.
Oh, I hope he's not bad because he's gonna be there for a while.
I don't think he's going to be great. Not $37 million a year great.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that electric personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'll be awful, but you're paying him to be the number one broadcast team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see.
He kind of gives off like Herm Edwards, Tony Dungy vibes. Just very mellow and he's a supporting cast member. He's not the guy that you're paying like the Tony Romo numbers.
Right. He's very cerebral, which that's great for a lot of things, but not when you're supposed to be putting on a show and you're the one of only two guys in the booth.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a problem if you're paying him $37 million a year and you find out you have to bring a third guy in there to kind of liven it up. And the other two guys, we don't make half of what he makes put together. What the hell's going on here? I feel like it's, and I get that he's supposed to be taking a year off to get ready for it, whatnot. But his idol growing up was Joe Montana. They just hope he's not Joe Montana on camera, because that was brutal. When he first retired, I remember people saying that they were going to put him on I think it was NFL Today that hired him. And I remember at the time as a kid going, wait a minute, I don't ever remember really seeing him interviewed much. And he got on there and it was just like, yeah, well, I think it should be a pretty good game tonight. And, hey, Joe, what do you think about that 3-4 defense that the Steelers are putting out there today? Well, really what they ought to be able to do is they ought to be able to do. And you're like, oh, they stepped in the mess kit here. Whoa. Like, dude. It was before 5-hour energy drink was invented, so it wasn't his fault, right?
Still had coffee back then, though.
I mean, they've had some bad ones, but he's always the gold standard of the great player that they never should have put in front of camera.
Well, I can hope Brady's not like that because he's going to be around for a while with what he's getting paid.
Right. Is it a 10-year deal?
Mm-hmm.
$375 million. I'm telling you right now, whoever signed that, their job is reliant on him being a success, a huge success.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He can't.
Brady.
What's that?
Brady is not this, but like what they really need, the NFL is like a combo like Chuck and Shaq.
Right.
I mean, that show is like one of the most watched and just most loved sports shows. You put those to get something like a combo like that calling NFL games.
Yeah, I don't know if you could have Shaq in a booth, but you could definitely have Charles in a booth. I think Shaq's more of a straight man type of thing, and you almost have to see him to react to his body language, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Chuck, I feel like you could put him in any sport, and he would say so many stupid things that would be funny, like you wouldn't care what the hell you're. You know what? I would watch women's basketball at that point if I knew he was on the game.
But last point before I go back into props, imagine Charles Barkley and Bill Walton calling a game.
Oh man, that would be
very
little
the best
basketball
thing ever.
talk, but it'd be hilarious.
I could see if they want to get people to watch the WNBA, put Chuck in the booth, because it's going to last like 2 weeks before he's out there going, "No, these damn women, they can't dribble the ball, they can't shoot the ball. What the hell is wrong?"
Don't let him in San Antonio games. Keep him away from there.
Yeah, the first game he does for women in San Antonio.
We're out of there.
Running out of time here. Steven, what is your lock of the day?
Man, I was going back and forth on it. I'm still give me the Chiefs 1.5 plus 1.5. I really think they're gonna win this game. Just that, I mean, them being underdogs, I don't see how they are.
I can't argue with that. I don't know how you give Mahomes points.
And it feels wrong.
It almost feels like they're trying to trick you, though, doesn't it? Anytime I see like a college basketball team who's highly ranked and they're the underdog in the game, I'm like, something stinks here, man. And then you turn it on, you're like, how is West Virginia just clobbering the hell out of Kansas, right? And you're like, I'm glad I didn't touch it, but I have no choice. I have to touch the Super Bowl. I can't walk by it and go, I'm not going to bet. I was getting beer this morning, and the girl at Publix was telling me how she thinks that they need to just get rid of gambling, whatever happened to just watching the game. And I'm standing there, I was like, what the hell ever happened to just betting on something, not even watching it? What are you talking about? I bet on things all the time that I can't even see. I don't find out till later that I've bet on a college basketball game that's not even on the plus.
Probably can't even pronounce half the Russian tennis or ping pong games you bet on.
Exactly. Whatever happened to just watching it? I don't think I would watch it. I mean,
you're probably the worst person she could have said that to.
Yeah,
honestly. I mean,
there was probably someone with an earshot that went, "Whoa, she made a big mistake." I gave
don't say that to him.
Tribe, but we don't have time to go on that. But I was like, "Have you lost your damn brain?" I'm in there preaching about how they're saying by the end of 2023, 40 of the 50 states in the union are going to have legalized sports gambling.
Nice.
Can Florida be one of them? That's all I want to know. Can Florida? Can Georgia? We can at least drive across each other's lines and just bet for each other.
Yeah.
How the hell does the buckle of the Bible Belt in Middle Tennessee have legalized sports gambling? And down here, Florida man can't bet on the Super Bowl. Steven, what is your one big thing as you walk us off today?
One big thing, there are going to be some some of your non-stars that are going to go off today. I think two of them on the Eagles side, Devontae Smith, Kenneth Gainwell. Play them in DFS and your bet it on your in your player props, hit the overs on them. And then from the KC side, of course, Travis Kelce. But I think Kadarius Toney as well is over on yards is plus 30.5 or is 30.5. I love the over there, and his over on catches is 2.5. I think he'll shatter that number. I can see at least 4 to 5 catches.
Shatter the number.
2.5. So it's criminally low.
It does seem oddly low.
My only concern is him getting hurt, but if he stays healthy, I think he clears up.
Well, I mean, like any bet you're placing, your assumption is they stay healthy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, with football, that's the name of the entire game. That's the reason why a lot of people stay away from the actual prop bets because they're worried about an injury. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I like to bet on the injury. It's like, man, that dude seems a little weak, need. I feel like a good pop's going to put him out of the game. But like someone like Mahomes, you're gonna have to darn near blow his head off to get him out of the Super Bowl, right? Like he's gonna have to be literally a zombie just walking with his head under his arm. He'll still be trying to chuck it with his left hand. All right, brother, great job, and I'll see you later for Super Bowl Sunday.
Looking forward to it. Good luck, everybody.
Yes, sir. We'll be back in a flash. Keep it locked in here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
How do 3 men in their 30s not have $800 between them?
The economy is in shambles right taking the close look at the marketplace right now.
Dow Jones. Stop talking fine.
That? That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Take the scenic route in the new Hyundai Santa Fe, the family SUV with available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you travel way off the beaten path. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
Touch 'em all, Joe! You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life!
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Super Bowl IV, Lenny Dawson's Chiefs crushed the Minnesota Vikings in what was the AFL's final game. As the decade ended, the two leagues merged, but the AFL's place in history was secure.
Biggest thing in the 1960s is the impact of the American Football League. The American Football League opened up the game. They threw the ball all over the place. They brought on all these gimmicks. And the most significant thing was beyond the American Football League, but part of it was the beginning of the Super Bowl.
Football's most prestigious game and America's greatest sporting spectacle truly owes a small debt of gratitude to the Renegade League that was a sensation in the 60s. The Renegade League, known as the AFL.
Armchair.
We'll talk about that when you come in.
I can't do that, sir.
Well, look, John, we can't have you running around out there wasting friendly civilians.
There are no friendly civilians. Man, keep pushing, sir.
Well, you did some pushing on your own, John.
They drew first blood, not me.
Look, Johnny, let me come in and get you the hell out of there.
They drew first blood.
Yeah, the armchair quarterback. He's kind of fun and he's kind of fat. The all-American man. With a cool one in his head.
Welcome back. Hour number 2. And Joey tries to kick out the girl he shouldn't have brought home out of bed. And how are you, Joey?
Yes, that has happened too many times, but no, not today. No, I'm doing great. Look, this is going to be not only, as we all know, a great matchup, but you got two of the best quarterbacks, top 2 MVP candidates, if we talked about many of times. And I really hope it lives up to the expectations, because we don't need even a low-scoring game. I just want an all-out shootout. Just give me the fireworks. Let's go.
What'd you have going on last night? A 10 at 2 and a 2 at 10?
Pitch intense. Got a couple buddies in town, just like you, Mac. We got a big Super Bowl party, so kind of craziness with people all over the place right now, but we're managing and we're here, and I'm back. My big head and my bad locks are here to stay.
God, quit betting on the NBA, man.
I'm done. NBA is done. It's dead to me. Bulls are dead. I'm dead. It's all
sucker's bet. Try to tell people, man, it's an absolute sucker's bet to bet on the NBA until you get to the postseason. Postseason different. Correct. It's an absolute sucker's bet. Or unless you want to just bet that the Joker is going to win the MVP again and then get knocked out in the first round or whatever.
2 guarantees in the hoops right there.
His nickname is a double-edged sword, right? The Joker, because and he's the Joker win the other MVP, and he's a Joker for thinking he's going to win an NBA championship. All right, well, let's get into actual bets and the lines. Want to get into the actual, we did a lot of prop bets, but want to talk about when you look at the Super Bowl, you're not just talking about the line for the entire game, but one of the other things is the first half bets, the first quarter bets, all that kind of stuff. And as I try to navigate through here to find all of them, First and foremost, now some of these books will have moved a little bit, but essentially you're getting anywhere between 1 to 2 points with Kansas City. I'm still showing 1.5. I think by kickoff it may move, but 1.5. Eagles are favorite. Minus 120 on the money line. Even pick them for Kansas City. And then the over-under is sitting at 51. The first half line is, to no one's shock, Chiefs getting a half point, Eagles minus half point. If you take the Chiefs, you get an even bet. If you take the Eagles at the end of the first half, it's a minus 120, just like the game. The over-under is sitting at 24.5. And that, to me, is actually more gettable than the over-under of the 51, because typically the second half, even though if you look at the numbers, the second half is lower scoring. Because you don't have as many opportunities, many situations where a team could be just trying to drain 3 to 5 minutes off the clock.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That's why typically the second half is lower scoring in football. But they expect you to think differently, that everyone's going to be in hurry-up shotgun formation, no huddle offense from the time the ball kicks off in the second half to the final gun. And they raised, so I'm looking at right here, the over-under for the second half is 26.5 for the second half. Eagles minus 1.5, Chiefs plus 1.5, because that's under the impression that maybe it's tied at halftime. And then you have the random quarters. Pretty much no matter what quarter you're talking about, the Chiefs are a half-point underdog. Eagles are a half-point favorite. And they're all pretty much minus 120 for the Eagles and minus 110 to minus 115 for the Chiefs. The over-under in the scores, first quarter, 9.5 points. Second quarter, now this is just that quarter itself, 14 points. Third quarter, 10 points. Fourth quarter, 14 points. Any of those tickle y'all's fancy?
I don't mind third quarter under 10 points. Looking at the last two playoff games for the Eagles, between them and the team they've been playing, they've combined for 7, or they've had 7 in each of the 2 games. Haven't gone over 10 in either one. So I could see, the Eagles coming out strong defensively in the second half, or the start of the second half. And, taking a while for the pace to pick back up.
What say you, Joey?
Yeah, I like that play. On the flip side of that play, I like the over in the first quarter of 9.5, because I'm on the Eagles this time around. And if they're going to come out to me, they got to start fast. They usually do. Against San Francisco, you saw them start fast against the Giants. To me, if the Eagles want to get some momentum, they cannot get down early. I feel like they usually do pretty good on their first and second possession. So I like that over in the first quarter.
I think of all the ones that I've looked at here, if I'm looking at the points, I find it interesting that the over-under in the second quarter is 14 points. And there's a couple ways that you can look at this. One of them is if you're looking at it from the standpoint of, let's say it's a fairly high scoring game, then the second quarter should be one of the higher scoring quarters, because you're into the flow of the game. No one's starting the ball on their own 20, that kind of thing. And teams are also expending all their timeouts as they end the quarter. That's why the first and third quarter are always lower scoring expected.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I was going to take an over for any of the quarters, it would probably be the second. But I'm still banging the under in this game. I think the over-under is way too high for two defenses that are pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I will say the Chiefs defense definitely doesn't get enough credit, I feel like, anytime.
Everybody's tongue bathing the Eagles defense. No one's paying attention to the fact that the Chiefs held the Bengals to 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an easy task.
No, and let me say, if Mr. Jones is causing havoc in this game, it could be a long day for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense, because in that 3 technique position, he could attack the quarterback. And Hurts hasn't been that great this postseason outside of the Giants. This game was kind of a mess, but big time for Hurts to step up, because I think Jones and the KCD line with Spagnuolo as the coordinator, they're going to come flying after this guy all day.
Mm-hmm.
Even more to that point, if Jones lands on him one time on that shoulder, that could be Katie bar the door. Here comes Minshew.
Yeah, who cares if you get a 15-yard penalty on that? Just get him down and out.
The big old boy. You fought. Now, granted, one thing that Philadelphia has done is they've hurt quarterbacks all year long.
They did it. They did it last week to Purdy.
Mahomes, and they pull that with Mahomes. They hit him late. I'm expecting some free yards for Mahomes and company in this game. If they even sneeze on him, they do not want the idea of Chad Henne playing in the Super Bowl. The NFL doesn't want that.
No.
They want people to stay engaged, continue to keep eyeballs on the TV so they can sell all these sponsorships.
Well, how often do they have the top two MVP candidates in the Super Bowl playing against each other? Not very often. So.
No. Mm-mm. You typically the MVP candidate's a first round exit or something, right?
Yeah, I think the last time an MVP candidate has won the Super Bowl, or MVP has won the Super Bowl was I think it was the Patriots. It was in the 2000s. It's been a while.
I can tell you right now, whenever Peyton Manning won MVP, they didn't win the Super Bowl or come close. The one year they did win it all, he wasn't that great.
Of the Denver one, I was like, you think?
Oh well, especially the Denver one.
Like 4 touchdown passes that year.
Yeah, and then the Super Bowl they went to where he was MVP, Seattle. That was one of the worst Super Bowls we've put eyes on. So, except for Seattle fans.
His 2 Super Bowl appearances are 2 of the worst Super Bowls in the history of the Super Bowl, if you really think about it. I mean, seriously, because even though I know your Colts won one of them, that was a boring-ass Super Bowl.
It was rainy. It was very rainy.
You had the Bears in there. Nobody wins there.
After Devin Hester returned it, that was the end of my Super Bowl party.
Grossman? Yeah, exactly. Devin Hester was the only high. Rex Grossman at quarterback. We knew we were in for a knuckle fight there.
It's like a Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson, even worse, actually.
I've like blocked that year out of my head. It's almost like a traumatic event from my childhood. I just absolutely.
There's certain Super Bowls.
No. Rex Grossman was never in the Super Bowl. I don't know what you're talking about.
There was Jim McMahon.
And there wasn't anything romantic about the story either. It's funny now that I think is that why you're a Colts fan?
My dad was a Colts fan when, a Peyton Manning fan when he was at Tennessee. So he just followed him from there on out. And like in '99, I jumped with him. And so it was like a little bit before that. That Super Bowl party was my dad and I versus 50 Bears fans. So talk about a hard one.
But I was thinking maybe that's what made you jump to the Colts or something was Rex Grossman.
His passes in that game would have made a lot of people jump.
Bobby's an Arizona fan because of what, Carson Palmer?
No, because after the Super Bowl against the Steelers, I played Madden, and when I started playing, it gave me a choice between the 2 teams in the Super Bowl that year, and I made the wrong choice, to say the least.
What an incredibly stupid reason to pull Pickett.
Hey, though,
I love you, Bobby. That's a dumbass reason, man.
That game, though, was epic, and on top of that, that was John Madden's last Super Bowl he ever called, was that 2009.
Was it?
That was his last game ever called, was that 2009 Super Bowl game.
But
game.
I loved Kurt Warner. I loved Fitz. So I just kind of picked them as my team because of that, and I rolled with it. And didn't turn out too well for me.
That was the what was his name?
James Harrison.
Yes, the James Harrison
6 at the end of the second half or first half. Yeah.
Stupid play.
I had all my money on the Cardinals too, so I was not very happy.
It was
on the bright
very
side.
reminiscent. Bobby will probably remember this as well very reminiscent of when the Gators essentially did the same thing to Sam Bradford in Oklahoma in the championship game. You remember that there was a turnover there at the goal line?
I was young, so I don't remember all the details, but I remember, I think it might have been that one where I had to go to bed early. But I woke up. I was like 4, man. Come on, give me a break. I woke up.
No, I'm just laughing because I remember those days.
Yeah, I woke up. My mom told me Florida won, and I was jumping for joy. So
Well,
I
that's
didn't watch a whole lot of the
with
game.
the Super Bowl we were just talking about.
I didn't watch that Super Bowl. I wasn't even a Cardinals fan because of that. It was because I started playing Madden. I picked the Cardinals, and they just became my team at that point.
Gotcha.
Because I liked Kurt Warner, I liked Fitz, whatever, all those guys.
It's to piggyback off what you said though. With my dad used to leave us notes from Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football when we were like 8, 9 years old because he'd make us go to bed at like halftime, and then we'd wake up to notes in the morning. So I'm with you. That brought up a good memory.
You know about it.
I used to stay up late with my dad to catch the replay of the Florida State game because they were never televised live. My dad graduated from there in the 60s, so this is in the 80s. Parents were divorced and everything, so you could probably have carte blanche or what you wanted to do because they're supposed to try to stay in your favor. And if my dad was staying up late to catch the replay of a Florida State game that came on 11:30 at night on Saturdays, it was replayed right after the evening news. And it would be a game that was played earlier that day. We'd be staying away from the score all game long. Sometimes it was the Florida game if Florida was playing someone big. Mm-hmm. And I remember staying up one time to watch Florida Miami beginning of the season because it was a big game, and we were watching some game on ESPN years and years and years ago. It tells you what the sound quality was like back then. But his roommate was going to stay up there with him. Was going to stay up with him to watch the game. So we were trying to stay away from the game, and we had done all kinds of things to stay away. So we were watching, and this is before you had the bottom line, right? Mm-hmm. So you didn't have to worry about that. We were staying away from the scores, and his roommate's sitting on the couch, and you can hear him just say, "God bless it," except, through much more expletive. And he slams his drink down, and he goes, "I just heard the score." Heard what score? It's the Florida Miami score. Like, what? How did you hear? And whatever game we were watching, the PA announcer in the background had announced the score at halftime of the Florida Miami game.
Oh no!
Because, like you said, there's only a few ways you could hear it back then.
My dad was like, "There's no way in hell you could have heard that score. There's no way." He wrote it down on a napkin. I'll never forget it. Turned it over. He goes, "Wake me up at halftime. I'll watch the game with y'all." All right. Wakes him up at halftime. They turn on the app, and sure enough, whatever the score was, Florida Miami 10-10, whatever the heck it was. That was and I mean, my dad laughed about that for years, because I don't know how he heard it. Because you would have had to been wanting to hear the stuff in the background.
When you try too hard to tune it out, then you start paying attention.
Yeah, you just zero it in.
What happens? Yep.
And back then, these ball games, you didn't have all the HD and all and plus all the different sounds and everything that they're pumping into you to block things out. You could just hear the echo of I don't even remember what game we were watching. Some game out from the West Coast somewhere. I don't even remember. There's probably 1,300 people in the stands, so you could just clearly hear the PA announcer. We've been avoiding the score for like 6 hours at that point. I know we were watching it. The game was played during the daytime. When they kicked it off for the replay, 11:30, it was sunlight. That was one of the last games that the Florida and Miami played during the regular season for a long, long time because Florida didn't want to play them, and there was that big thing behind that. But anyways, what are we talking about? Went down memory lane. I got sidetracked.
We're getting in our heart stories. Look, we got a Super Bowl. No, but that's always fun to do. Honestly, that's what this game does. It brings out the best in memories you get from the past. So when you told us to think back on Super Bowls, some of them just stick out for some reason because you just have moments or things that happened at parties and you just remember certain Super Bowls more than others. And it's a lot of fun. I had fun making a list.
All right. So on that point, let's go ahead and get Bobby's list because he's going to be jumping off first. Bobby, give me your – well, first of all, give me your number one Super Bowl of all time. Was it the Arizona Super Bowl?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I didn't care for the Cardinals when they were playing in it too much. I rooted for them, I guess, but I was too young to really have a team. But Super Bowl 46 is probably the one that sticks out the most to me. Giants versus Patriots, the 9-7 Giants, mind you. The reason that is because my dad was actually at that Super Bowl. He brought back a hat that I still have. So I watched it. I was pretty invested in that game, and I was rooting for the Giants. They won. It was a fantastic game. It was close. So it was really – that one sticks out in my memories the most.
Giants, Patriots. Oh, that was the second meeting. The second
one, yeah. It was
because
Super
I was
Bowl
going to
46.
say the first one, I'll mention it later. But, yeah, both are classic.
Yeah. The first one.
That just tells you how old you are there, Joey, because he doesn't remember that one.
Yes, I do.
Hey,
come on now.
I'm losing
Undefeated
some hair.
Patriots.
If you can't tell, I probably am balding a little.
Well, how could you have remembered that Super Bowl if you didn't remember the Florida-Oklahoma national title game? Because that was afterwards.
No, the second one happened in 2012. The second Patriots
I'm
Giants.
referring to the first one.
I mean, I don't remember it exactly. I still, when I watch the highlights from it, whenever I come across those videos, I don't remember it too well comparative to the 2012
Kyrie
Super
with the
Bowl.
second on his helmet.
Yeah.
It's never mind.
What is keep it? What is your second favorite Super Bowl?
My second one, and it's a more recent one, and I loved watching this. It was fun, and a lot of the fun was because I got to watch the 49ers lose. Chiefs versus 49ers in Super Bowl 54, and Chiefs' big comeback. Shanahan's collapse the second time. That's another one that I loved watching. I was rooting for the Chiefs hard, and the team I was rooting for won. And that one's one of my favorites for sure.
Do you have a number three?
Number three, I guess this isn't in any particular order because it's hard to rank these three, but Super Bowl 51, Patriots, Falcons, the 28-3 comeback. I mean, come on. It cemented Brady's legacy as the greatest of all time, no question. Just a ridiculous comeback. I had stopped watching to go play basketball with my friends because of how out of hand the game got. We come back and see the game was within a touchdown and an extra and a 2-point conversion, and we're like, oh. So that one was
absolutely blotto during the comeback because I assumed the game was over. So at halftime, we're doing all these, these Jello shots and all that kind of junk. And I mean, you almost had to start slapping yourself in the face to focus. You're like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening here?
Yeah.
You kept thinking, there's no way Atlanta's going to lose this game because surely to God they're going to understand to run the football.
And they didn't. Shanahan, that's what kicked off his legacy as one of the biggest chokers.
That's the funny part is that in that game, they chucked it around too much. And then so the reverse happened against the Chiefs. They got too conservative.
Yeah.
One of these days, he's going to hit it just right. And that's why he's got to go sign Tom Brady. Bring him back one more year. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
What is your one big thing in your lock, sir?
My one big thing, everybody enjoys Super Bowl Sunday. If you're an Eagles or Chiefs fan tuning in, good luck to you. Biggest game of the year. I'm excited to see it, even though I don't have my team in it. Still fun to get together with everybody, Enjoy it, guys.
They're all trying to get one of these, baby. See that? Super Bowl 57 ring. Coming straight off the cupcakes.
A ring's a ring, baby.
All right, brother. We'll see you next time. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Doug's going to join us. We're going to go down memory lane.
See you, Bobby.
And talk about some Super Bowls. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive Time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves Baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves Country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves Country Baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE. Chiefs Tomahawk Chop's going to be loud and proud tonight. We're going to jam those Philadelphia sandwiches right in their nose. Joining us is another big Chiefs fan, Mr. Red Raider Doug.
Yeah. How are you all doing?
How about them Chiefs, baby? Let's go.
Yeah, go Chiefs. Break a leg.
Something tells me when you come over here later on today to watch the game, you're going to have some Raider gear on, I would think. Doug, our famous Raider fan. Is your biggest rival the Chiefs? Or is it the Chargers? Or is it the Broncos? Or is your biggest rival the Davis family?
Right now, they're our number one rivals. The Davis family is. Yes, right now they are.
Of all the teams that you don't want to see win the Super Bowl, is it the Chiefs? Is it the Broncos? Or is it the Chargers?
It's the Chiefs. This is a dark time in Raiders history right now. Year after year of dealing with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
It's funny because you always hear all these different theories from the national broadcasts of who the big rivalry in the West is. I feel like maybe it's a recency bias because the Chiefs are so good, but it seems like every time they bring up a team from the AFC West, they're talking about how that team's biggest rival is the Chiefs. And I'm like, man, there was a long time when the Chiefs weren't any good. Because I can remember, what's his name, Chris Berman. I can remember Boomer referring to him as the Chefs. He would call them the Kansas City Chefs if they were below 500.
And those were good times then. It was good times then. It was good times then when you had 2 easy wins on your schedule against the team you hated the most.
He would never refer to the Chiefs as the Chiefs. It was always the Chefs. They were below 500, and the Bengals were always the Cincinnati Bungles. And for good reason for a lot of those years. I mean, both teams were really bad. Mm-hmm. Now they're two of the best organizations in the NFL.
Well, that's going like with the same thing with the Patriots and the Colts. In the same time period, the Patriots and the Colts were the jokes of football forever. I'll give you an example. When we were kids, our teachers for Christmas used to give us a set of those NFL pencils. The 4 pencils always got broken and thrown to the ground. Were the Chiefs, the Bungles, the Colts and the oh my God, New England Patriots. They were always thrown on the floor. How times have changed, and now we're talking about Tom Brady and the Patriots being one of the greatest organizations ever. When I was a kid, they were a joke.
Nobody uses pencils anymore.
Yeah, nobody uses pencils anymore, so there you go.
I do remember those pencils.
Oh, yeah.
Joey, did you ever experience those pencils, or was that long gone?
I don't know if it was another type of pencil, but we definitely got NFL packs by the team, and those were so cool to get because you want who you want in the different colors. We definitely had them. I just don't know if it was the same version.
I don't even remember where I would get them from. I can't remember if it was a pack or if they bought them individually, but I do remember having them. Do you remember, Doug? Was it sold as a pack back then?
Say it again. Went out for a second.
Was it sold as a pack back then, or were you buying them individually? I can't remember how.
No, you got it. No, you got them in packs. You can get a full NFL pack like our teachers did, or you could get them AFC, NFC.
Okay. I'm seeing pictures of them now. I'm trying to recall. I don't remember how I used to get that. I do remember getting them. It's showing packs where it shows like 14 NFL pencils, which back then would have been one conference.
Or conference pencils. Yeah, NFC, AFC.
I'm trying to find the ones that I really would have remembered like that version of, but I don't see the ones. I do see an NFL lunchbox that I remember that it's got all the old school. Let me see if I can share this. I don't know if you remember this or not, but I vividly remember this. Let's see here. So if you look at this and you look over here where that lunchbox, I remember these lunch boxes, and what I really remember, because back then that Bengals logo, you see that logo?
Yeah.
That thing was already outdated by the time I was, because I remember some kid came to school with the logo, with the lunchbox that had that logo, and he got killed.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody killed him for it because they had just changed that logo in the mid 80s. I think I can't remember. The Super Bowl that they played the 49ers in the first time, hadn't they already changed that logo?
That was the year they changed the logo.
Okay. I can vaguely remember the Bengals wearing just Bengals across their helmet. But I remember
the last time I saw that Bengals logo was in the AFC divisional game against the Raiders in the Stowe. That's the last time I saw it.
You see that Jets logo? They would put that on stuff that they would sell all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the 80s, and they had already changed it to the green helmets. And so kids would come rocking this old helmet and they get laughed at. Because back then in the 80s, we weren't buying nothing retro. We didn't know we were about to be retro, but we wanted everything that was new and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you see some of those logos. I'll tell you what. Patriots spit the bit. They need to go back to what do they call him? Pat?
Yeah.
Bruce the Patriot or whatever. No, it's Bucko Bruce. Something Pat. I can't remember what they go. But anyways, that one and the Buccaneers helmet are the two of the most iconic ones, along with the hat that I'm wearing today right now, the Oilers. But I guess you can't really go back to Oilers if you're the Titans because you're not the Oilers anymore. But I still love the old Oiler logo. All right, best Super Bowls ever. Interested to see where everybody's going with this. Joey, give me your number 3.
My number 3 is going to go to the 2017-2018 Super Bowl, but with the Philly special. I always love rooting against New England as a Colts fan, so that always is helpful, even though most of the time Tom Brady did win. But, I mean, this game, you had Nick Foles catching a touchdown. He wasn't even the quarterback at the beginning of the season. The game was very high scoring in a 41-33 effort that was ousted by Philadelphia over New England. And it was just one of the more entertaining games in my lifetime, seeing the back and forth. And then it was kind of like a David versus Goliath with Nick Foles at quarterback there. So I thought that was my number 3.
What was your number 3, Doug?
I'm going to go back a long time with my personal favorite at number 3. It's Super Bowl V when the Colts beat the Cowboys.
Hey.
And it was my first Super Bowl I ever watched. I watched it with my great-grandfather. That's how I learned football that day, on how everything works watching that game. And it's the only game where also, too, where defenses kind of ruled the day. And it's the only time that I know of that a linebacker was named MVP in Chuck Howley.
There's been 4 linebackers. We were just talking about that.
Oh, 4 linebackers who've been MVPs of the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, he was the first.
Yeah. Well, back then.
16-13 that game was.
Yeah.
And it was also one of the reasons too is you watch the game. It was they named it the Blunder Bowl because there were 11 turnovers in that game.
Yeah,
it
was just before my time being able to see it, but I used to watch the NFL films, and it was my least favorite NFL films recap because of all the turnovers.
True. For me, it was just my first time watching a real championship game, and that's why I remember it that way.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just a little shocked that was one of your favorites, but I get the nostalgia of it. My number 3, I have a number 3. I guess just because it was a heartbreaker, I'm going to put it down at 3, but it was one of my first remembrances of the Super Bowl was the loss to the, what year was that? Was that 19? Well, it was 82 season, but 83 out in Pasadena, Redskins 27-17 over the Dolphins. At the time, as a kid, I was a Dolphins fan. The heartbreaking, they go for it on 4th down, and Blackwood's got a hold of Riggins' jersey, and it tears away, and he's gone for a touchdown on 4th and inches. And that was, at the time, it was 20-17. They were up by 10 with 7-8 minutes left. And back then, that was the kiss of death, and it was over. And they finally put Don Strock in. They finally started moving the damn ball, but it was too little too late. What is your number 2, Joey?
My number 2 Super Bowl is actually a lower scoring game like Doug's was, 17-14. It takes us to 2008, round 1 of Patriots Giants. And that's because the Patriots were undefeated at 16-0, as we all know. And, nobody thought they were going to lose at that point. The Giants were 10-6. In fact, they actually played week 16 or 17 of that year, and it was a really good game in New York. And then the Patriots won. They went 16-0, and then they ended up meeting in the Super Bowl. And that David Tyree catch, that will live in infamy forever. Plaxico Burress catching a touchdown, then a day later he pops his own foot. But different story. But that was my number 2.
What about you, Doug?
Number 2 is I'm going to go back a little bit further and just go to Super Bowl 15. A Super Bowl that's ignored by a lot of people because the score was 27-10. But it had a lot of significance because the Philadelphia Eagles in that time period was probably the best team in football. And also that was the year that basically Al Davis had sued the NFL to move to Los Angeles. So basically the NFL had gone to war with one team. It's hard to explain because it was social impact. I mean, all the time you're hearing how terrible the Raiders are, how terrible the Raiders are. They have to be defeated. We don't like them. They're a rebellion team, and they're bad for football. And then they went on to beat probably 2 of the best teams in football that year, culminating with beating the San Diego Air Coryell Chargers in the AFC title game, and then beating statistically the best team in football in the Eagles and beating them decisively to become the first wildcard team to win a Super Bowl, and just embarrassing what the NFL said was elite football in 1980 and 81.
Of all the Raiders Super Bowls, my favorite one, and this isn't on my list, but since it's kind of on the same subject, my favorite one was the one where what year was that? Okay? It was January of '84, where the Raiders pounded the Redskins 38-9, and the famous run by Marcus Allen. And the reason why I loved that Super Bowl is because I was still holding a grudge against the Redskins from the year before when they broke my heart as a kid. Oh, I was just absolutely furious. My number 2 Super Bowl that I'm probably going to pick, I'm going to go with the Giants over the Buffalo Bills, January of 1991, the Norwide kick. It was one of the greatest upsets in the history of the NFL. People don't realize it if they weren't around back then, but the Bills were looked upon as unbeatable. They were this no-huddle, unstoppable offense, and they were going to go up against Jeff Hostetler. And though a good defense, everyone just figured that the Bills were going to be able to put points up, and the Giants were never going to be able to put any points up because the Giants had just won the NFC Championship game 15-13 off of 5 field goals. And I was pulling for the Giants, man. I was all in. I was like, man, if they can beat Joe Montana, because Joe Montana had hung 55 on the Broncos the year before in the Super Bowl. If they can beat Joe Montana in Candlestick, they can beat Buffalo. And they absolutely – and you got to realize that coaching staff, but just to name a few, not only did you have Parcells, but you had Bill Belichick as the defensive coordinator. And they outsmarted the entire Buffalo Bills. Plus, at the time, I was still a Dolphins fan as a kid, and I hated the AFC East rivals. So give me the Giants versus the Bills. All right, what is your number 1 Super Bowl, Joey?
Baby. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the one that Bobby somehow doesn't remember, and that's the Steelers and the Cardinals, I guess, which started kind of his fandom. And one of our best parties we also had at our house, so I love that moment. But this was a 9-7 Cardinals team led by Ken Wisenhunt, who came from the Pittsburgh staff. And Kurt Warner was obviously, it was kind of a feel-good story following this Arizona team. And unfortunately, Pittsburgh sucked the life out of them as they won 27-23 on that infamous Santonio Holmes catch in the corner of the end zone, where I still don't know to this day how he got both of those feet in bounds. That was like over 3 people's hands, and he made just such a nice, tough catch there. But that one really brought a lot of joy, and I think that is honestly my favorite Super Bowl game because, like I said, too, a fun fact I mentioned earlier, that was John Madden's last game ever called in the NFL was that Super Bowl. So it always sticks out to me a little bit more.
All right, Doug. So that leaves you with your number 1 Super Bowl of all time. What is it?
My favorite Super Bowl of all time was watching then Washington Redskins destroy the Broncos in 18 plays in 1988. Because we had a big party. I went to a big party, and everybody was Broncos. And I just remember at a certain point, everybody left, assuming that the Broncos had won. And I was literally at somebody else's party by myself and just started eating everybody's food and just watching the Redskins come back because I was the only one there with a Redskins shirt on that day. I sat there and drank everybody's booze and ate everybody's food. It was like, come on back, guys. Come on back.
Why would they think the game was over? It was 10-0 in the first quarter.
They just assumed.
And at halftime, they blew a lead in the second quarter.
They just decided that the Broncos had won, and that was it. And like I said, I had a lot of food that night just watching them come back in 18 plays. I'm like, then they came back and left again. So I spent the rest of the night quite drunk and quite full with food after they left.
Bunch of hippies. It was 10-0 Denver at the end of the first quarter, Joey. I know this a little before your time.
Right.
The Super Bowl record came in. The Redskins down 10-0 to Elway and the Broncos came storming back and scored 35 points in the second quarter. Take a 35-10 lead at halftime.
Oh my goodness!
Then the game was over because you didn't come back from those.
That was the funniest thing about it. They had in their mind that the Broncos, the minute they scored points, it was over with. So, like I said, I just sat there, ate and drank, and I'm like, I'm watching 18 plays. I'm like, wow, go Redskins.
Yeah, it was 42-10. Just one more touchdown.
42-10 after that. Yeah.
Timmy Smith a name never heard from again. 200
Yep.
yards rushing that day.
And that was Requiem for Doug Williams, if I remember.
You know, there was something else going on at that time too, Joey, that you didn't really ever have to live through. There was a time for a good solid chunk of the Super Bowl era where the game was boring. They were all blowouts. And it goes back to, I guess the first one that really did it was the 84 one, the Raiders Redskins, like I talked about. So 84 so Super Bowl, what is that? 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. They were all just snore fest. Then the 49ers and Bengals actually had a really good Super Bowl, Boomer Esiason versus Joe Montana. And then once again, it was another blowout with the 49ers Denver. Then we get the Giants Buffalo game that I had mentioned. We get another blowout, Washington Buffalo. Get another blowout, Dallas Buffalo. Get another blowout, Dallas Buffalo. Are we catching getting kind of a theme here?
Yeah.
Keep Buffalo out of the Super Bowl. San Francisco blew out the San Diego Chargers. They didn't really start getting really good games again until the 2000s, to be honest with you. There's a chunk of close to 20 years where you had a couple of classics, and that's probably why the 1990 season, the 1991 Super Bowl really stands out to me. Giants Buffalo. You know, the other thing that I didn't mention about that I probably should have, that was during the Gulf War, and the fact that both teams happened to be red, white, and blue was very patriotic. Whitney Houston sang the national anthem, still the best national anthem ever sang at the Super Bowl. It was really, and everyone was flying the American flags. It was very patriotic. And it was an actual great Super Bowl. But man, I'm looking at the list of these games. My God, there were some boring Super Bowls. Denver, Atlanta. Ooh, snooze.
Yeah, I mean,
Giants snore.
Even though, unfortunately, New England won all of them, at least their Super Bowls were 3-point games between the Rams, Panthers, and Eagles. You're right. Really, until 2000, early 2000s, we were getting some snooze fests.
Now, my favorite Super Bowl of all time actually takes place in the middle of all this, and it is John Elway. And I'm not even a John Elway fan. I'm not a Bronco fan, but the story was cool. The defending Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers and Brett Favre were taking on Denver and John Elway's Broncos. John Elway was at the end of his career. There was always, and I guarantee you, Doug can attest to because he was probably saying the same thing. There was always this stink of Elway is probably going to the Hall of Fame, but he can't win the big one. He was getting blown out in the big one. Blown out. He wasn't losing. He was getting crushed. And here came Super Bowl, what was that? Super Bowl 32 in San Diego. And it was Favre versus Elway, and it was a classic. And Elway running, scrambling towards the end of that game, helicoptered in the air. It had everything. And I can remember that was such a big game. That was really at the beginning of me throwing these Super Bowl parties with friends. They've morphed into much bigger things now with food-wise, but we were having parties back then, and we hosted that one. I actually think that was the first one now that I think about it, because I think about these other ones. I was always somewhere else. So, yeah, that was the first one. It was in this little apartment I had. I had probably about 15 people that you could probably, by fire hazards, could only have 4 in it. We were just jumping up and down. I think everyone was pulling for Denver there that night. Everyone was pulling, and it was just the biggest thing. We were like, we can't believe we're getting a good Super Bowl. We'd been like shell shocked, man. We were like, oh God, the Super Bowl, here we go again. And it's one of the reasons why we decided to throw the party. We're like, well, if nothing else, let's have a lot of food and fun because these games are going to suck. So that is my all-time favorite. And it's funny. You would think it would be something else. So I'm not an Elway guy. I'm not a Favre guy. I'm not a Green Bay or Denver guy.
My dad was always a Marino guy during that era. Unfortunately, it never worked out. But
that was my guy too, was Marino. But there was just something about that Super Bowl. You finally got a good one. and it lived up to the hype, and you knew you were watching to, even though it was in the infancy of his career, Brett Favre was heading to the Hall of Fame. You just knew. And so that'll probably the most heartbreaking one for most people that I was friends with was the Tennessee by 1 yard in the Georgia Dome to St. Louis. I was not quite a Tennessee fan yet. They just moved there. I didn't become a Titans fan until the next year. At that point, they ticked me off about what they did to Marino and Miami. So I said, you know what? Since they didn't win, I'll go ahead and pull for the Titans. If they had won, I would have never been a Titans fan. Had they won that Super Bowl, they gotten 1 more yard, Doug, I wouldn't have this ugly tattoo on my arm. Yeah. Nothing better than a garage jailhouse type tattoo on your arm when you're.
I got one of those on my backside.
I bet you do. Going with the tramp stamp for the win. Is it a butterfly?
The initials BM for Baker Mayfield. I lost a lot of money on a game involving Baker Mayfield. That's all I'll say. When he was at Oklahoma.
Oh man. I guess it's appropriate that on your backside there would be a tattoo that says BM. You can always lie to what it stands for.
I have, believe me, I've been there and where I needed it almost. Anyways.
All right. Anyways.
Sorry.
Our locks and our one big thing as we go to walk this puppy off. By the way, I forgot to give my teaser that I said I was going to give at the end of the first hour. My teaser that I'm going with, my teaser locks, I'm giving 2 locks today. My teaser locks is the Chiefs and the under, which would give me the over under at, depending on the book, 57 to 58 points. I think it's going to stay under that, and the Chiefs would get somewhere between 7.5 to 8 points on your classic teaser. I don't see a scenario where Mahomes gets blown out. Not in this game. It was a little different with that Buccaneers Super Bowl. I think we're going to see something a lot different. And I think Andy Reid probably learned a lesson or two from that.
Agreed.
All right. So your locks, let's go ahead and start them. Joey, what is your lock of the day? I swear to God, if you say NBA.
I need a lock like I need water. But no, I'm sticking in the National Football League. Why? You can't go against the Super Bowl with all that fun going on. I'm going to take the Eagles' first half spread -0.5 is my lock. And the reason is this. The Eagles got to get off in a fast start. I truly believe if Chiefs get rolling, this game might be get away quickly. But if the Eagles get up, which I think they will, I think we have a great Super Bowl because Mahomes knows how to find a way back. So I'm going with the Eagles first half spread -0.5 point.
All right. Doug, what is your lock of the day?
My lock of the day, I mean, this Super Bowl today is too close to call. I'm just going to take a cheap lock and just say that my lock is they say the over and under is 50. I'm just taking the under with the Eagles winning by 3.
All right, I'm going to give you credit for 51 because most books I'm looking at is 51. So your under is 51.
Right.
Okay. I like that. And that was going to be my lock, but since you took it, I'll go somewhere else. You know what? I mean, just give me the Chiefs in 1.5. I can't believe that they're getting points. It truly is ridiculous. It just shows the lack. And I think the Chiefs have an absolute chip on their shoulder because of this. I really do. I think that they're going to go in there and they may not have more weapons, but they got the right weapons. They got Mahomes. They've got Kelsey. They've got a pretty good running game, and that defense is very underrated. And they've got the experience. And there's a little things that they're going to take place in the Super Bowl that a team with their experience is used to and a team without is not. Yep. Things like standing there for several minutes while they get done doing the national anthem in America the Beautiful. You don't do that in a normal game. things like a 30-plus minute halftime delay. You don't do that in a normal game. There's all these little things that'll come into play. Give me the Chiefs plus 1.5. All right. We're about there. What is your one big thing, Joey?
My one big thing, if you can notice my shirt, it is a Jeff Saturday face shirt. Do not hire this man on Valentine's Day. Please, whatever you do not hire this man on Tuesday. Give me Shane Steichen from the Eagles. Do not hire this man.
Where did you get that from?
I looked online. My brother got it for me as a gift. He got one, and I have to wear it while I can because he's going to be beheaded if he gets hired. So I need to represent while I can.
That is absolutely phenomenal. I was not expecting that at any stretch of the imagination. That's Saturday.
Sorry I had to do it.
The only way that could be better is if it was like Jim Irsay spooning him.
Hey, wait till next year.
That's going to be hard to top that, Doug. What is your one big thing?
Just give me a quick second. I'm still stunned from the before Jeff Saturday event. My one thing was just I was going to say that since his injury, Jalen Hurts has not thrown a deep ball or anything to the left side of the field. So I was just saying that could be troubling for the Eagles offense. Go Jeff Saturday. I can't get that out of my I can never get that out of my head now, what I just witnessed.
It'll be interesting.
Not again.
It'll be interesting if later on this week we get news that Hurts has to have shoulder surgery. That's another reason why I'm taking the Chiefs. My one big thing. We're going to get a Philly special from Andy Reid against the Eagles.
Wow.
We're going to get it thrown by Kelsey to Patrick Mahomes, who everyone thinks is limping on that leg. He's going to be like Kaiser Soze, right? He's going to look next thing is be wide open, baby. Let's go. And with that one big thing, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win their second Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes will have won his second Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid with their second Super Bowl. And then it's going to get nauseating because at that point, I'm going to wish I'd pulled for the Eagles because everyone's going to be talking about Mahomes being the GOAT after 2 championships when he'll still have 5 more to go to even sniff Tom Brady. But that's the one big thing.
Amen.
And tomorrow, on tomorrow's show, we will not speak one iota, not one sentence about the Super Bowl. We're going to do nothing but a baseball show. So we hope you stick around and catch us from 3 to 5 as we're normally on 3 to 5 here on Braves Country HD and Braves Country 99.1 FM WQEE as we will be just over 6 weeks from opening day. We've got the WBC Classic on the way in a few weeks. And in just 13 days, we have the first spring training games. So thank God baseball's coming back. I'm a little burned out on football, and I don't know how much XFL will be able to stomach. Something tells me it's going to be all hype and no substance. Y'all, great job today, and we will see you tomorrow. Doug, I'll see you later on tonight. Go Chiefs, baby.
See you, Jeff.
Goodbye, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart, goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam.